Welcome back to the Feel Worthy podcast and welcome to a brand new year. Happy 2026 event pros. If this episode is finding you on the other side of a busy event season, I hope you're finding some rest and taking a moment to take a breath, get grounded, and find a little rejuvenation as you step into the new year. If you're new here, I am your host, Kayla Worthy. I'm mom to a now 5-year-old and I can't even believe it. We just hosted a Hot Wheels birthday party with his school friends, and it feels like such a full circle moment. I couldn't even imagine this is where I'd be 5 years ago. I'm also a wife to an incredible husband. We recently did a mini retreat vision cast for 2026, more intention setting than rigid goal setting. He doesn't love the idea of like a very structured plan. So I created something a little bit loose, but something that we could really lean into together. And if you want the agenda, if your partner also is kind of like, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it like a work or business meeting, then I can send you the agenda. And send me a message on email, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm happy to share it. And then professionally, I am a corporate senior event manager plus an event coach, supporting event pros who want to get the promotion, start the business, or create a life where life actually comes first, not just the events we plan. So I love the energy of a new year. I love a fresh planner with crisp pages. Personally, I'm a passion planner girl. I also have Google Calendar, so all the new clean slates I love. And I just love the possibility that comes with a reset. But I'm not quite into this whole like new year, new me. Like you don't change. You're not a whole different person when the new year comes around. You don't need a makeover to feel worthy. This episode isn't about setting bigger goals, doing more, or becoming someone entirely new. It's about a shift in perspective and stepping into every day feeling worthy of the skin that you're already in. As event professionals, we are incredible at creating meaningful experiences for other people. We anticipate needs, we hold space, we make rooms feel intentional and welcoming. But when it comes to ourselves, often we tend to run on empty. So today I want to share 6 ways to feel worthy in 2026. Not just ideas, but as practices so you can integrate it into your life, even in busy seasons, even during the on-site chaos or the pressure of Q1 or the stress that leadership has as you're approaching an event. Before we dive in, a quick reminder, you don't need to do all 6. Just notice what feels the most supportive to you right now. And if you can, grab a notebook, grab a pen. If you're driving, just keep listening and take a mental note to come back to the episode later. Okay, so we're going to give you 6 ways to feel worthy in 2026. And the first is redefining success. So bringing your future self into the present. And if you're like me, you did a vision cast for yourself or with your family or both, you've created a vision board, you've started to map out your goals and look at every quarter for the new year and what this year can bring for you in your life. But sometimes when we look at that, we're thinking more money, a new title, a promotion, a bigger car, just more. And it doesn't always have to be about that. If that's what you want and you're like, I've worked so hard to get to that point, oh my gosh, keep going, please, because you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. I really want that for you. But if you're looking at feeling worthy in the new year, just reconsider what success actually means. And while those things absolutely matter because we need money to make our lifestyle the way we want it to be, I get it. But they can't be the source of your worth, right? Like you can't go into the new year saying, okay, all of these things define me and define the value that I bring into my day to day. In 2026, it looks like taking a step back and redefining what success actually looks like. So shifting from external validation to internal alignment and taking a look at what other things can define success and wealth and happiness. Is it more time with your family? Is it more opportunities to go volunteer at the local shelter that you love, but you haven't been making time for? Pause for a second and ask yourself, what does success look like for me right now, in this season, in this moment, in this time as I'm approaching what 2026 is going to look like? Is it a title? Is it more presence and more focused attention with the people that you love, more memories, or just more space to breathe. Maybe it's less items on your agenda and more white space so that you can think about your goals and your vision more clearly. I remember when I was first starting out in my career, I did so many contract jobs because I was essentially a solopreneur before the term had even been coined or defined in the industry. I was enjoying doing contract jobs, but what I really wanted was a stable corporate job. And while I found happiness in the place that I was in, I was also struggling to find clients. So when I finally did, I was excited and over the moon. What I didn't realize was that I had clients that had events all within the same time frame, and I was working all by myself. So I believe all of the events were like within the months of May and June, all within like a week of each other, which for a new planner on your own, trying to make it for the first time, all I was doing was working round the clock. I was working at all hours to try to make every client happy. And while it was great, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm thriving. I have 3 different businesses that want my services. I was exhausted and depleted. Like, could not, I feel like I was running on fumes and I wasn't getting adequate sleep. I wasn't spending time with friends or family. I was living with my parents at the time, so this was early in my career, and I could barely even see them. I remember thinking all I wanted was more photos with my friends, and that would have meant success. And a more stable life where I was like, okay, I have some space to breathe and plan and enjoy the work I'm doing. I couldn't even live in the moment and like see the success that I was having because I was just in the middle of working so much. And I didn't want to let anyone down. So eventually I realized I wanted more time back, more memories, and that's not something we can always get back. So when I started thinking about my dreams for the future, I started writing them down as if they already happened. So it was, I'm a present mom and wife. That was something future me was going to be. But how can I start being a more present mom, wife, friend in this moment? What did that look like to start shaping that reality for myself, even though that was a future dream and goal? Could that happen now? Could I spend more time with the people I loved and make dedicated moments with them where we went to coffee and I could actually speak to them instead of checking my phone every 5 minutes? Other dreams I wrote down were I protect my energy, or I make time for joy and connection, or my house is overlooking the water. So, right, the dreams could be all different types of things. But if success looks a little different, like spending more time with your friends, having more photos of you in them with your family, and not just being the one looking at the photos from social media, then maybe it looks like success is different than what we thought it was. So it's just taking a step back, redefining what that looks like, and then having those anchors to guide you as you're moving into your next step. If this section and this part is hitting and landing for you, just know you're not behind. You're just becoming a little bit more intentional, and there's an opportunity to make that shift. Number 2, we're going to detach our worth from our output, which is a huge message. It honestly could be a full episode, but when we look at how to feel worthy in 2026, and I even looked at how I really started to feel worthy in 2025, it was detaching my worth from my output. And I started to do that by creating a joy list. There are definitely layers to that so that you don't just detach that overnight and you just like detach it from your car or your truck and it's like, oh, we're gone. It takes time and it might feel really uncomfortable, especially if you're a high achiever, because we've been conditioned to believe that our value comes from what we produce, from how much we do, from how efficient we are. But worthiness is not a performance metric. It's not something that you're putting on your evaluation or your performance review at the end of the year. This week, I want you to create a joy list and write the things that bring you joy. And it doesn't have to be things that include productivity, right? Like sometimes journaling or using your planner, you're like, oh, I'm journaling, I'm putting my things in my planner, but I feel great, but I also feel productive. No. We want to think about things that we want to think about things that fill our cup. So going to the gym and trying a new workout, trying something different that we've never done before that brings us outside of our comfort zone. Traveling, going to a new location and seeing the sights. And maybe it does include doing that with work. Okay, great. But are you doing it and then just staying in the convention center or the hotel room? Or are you going to a new place and actually taking in your surroundings and leaning into the moment? When we think about joy, when we think about the list, it shouldn't be things that always have to be, again, things that are making us productive. We want to make sure that we're filling our own cup and we're saying that we are worthy because we are doing these things that bring us joy in life, that we are worthy because we're eliminating all of these ways that work is our entire being. When we detach our worth from our output, then we start to feel more alive again. I said travel and a few other things, but they can be simple things like walking the dog, drinking coffee in silence, music, and a 30-second dance party to Beyonce, bike rides in the park. These are things that just spark joy, and they are simple things. But more than just creating the list, bonus points if you can actually put them into your calendar every week. Every week. Start putting them into your calendar. Start doing a win book. My dietitian and I talk about this. Creating a win book of all of the ways that you've created joy in your week. Really detaching yourself from what work is every day will start to bring you into that feeling of worthiness. So, like I said, action item. You're going to schedule it. You're going to put them into your calendar, color code it, protect it at all costs. And even if it feels silly, especially if it feels silly, because you're going to be like, I don't need to do this. I could just do it the next week and move it. But the more you move it, the more you start to let work encroach on that. And then you forget that your worth is not, again, tied to your work. It's tied to the things that fill you up, that light you up every day, that bring you fulfillment, and then therefore give other people in your life joy and happiness and fulfillment too. And if you're like, I don't have time for this, it'll be fine. I'll just do it in Q2 or Q3 when I have less events. Again, this is exactly where you need it most. Okay, 3 is choosing alignment over approval. All right, so I'm going to say it again. We're choosing alignment over approval. And this happens when we set very clear boundaries. Again, another topic that could be a full-blown episode. And if you want a full-blown episode about any of these, let me know. I'm happy to dive deeper. But the premise of this is that boundaries are one of the clearest indicators of self-worth. I talk about it in episode 1. I talk about it with Sarah in episode 4, that boundaries are one of the clearest indicators of self-worth. If you feel overextended, resentful, or depleted, it's usually not because you don't care, right? Like, it's not because of that. You care so much. It's because you care so deeply, but you do so without protecting yourself. You care about the others around you, the events that you plan, the clients that you have, but we need to start caring a little bit more about ourselves. 2 things can be true. You can care about yourself and you can care about the work that you produce. So in 2026, worthiness looks like choosing that alignment in your life and stop chasing the approval of everyone else. If you're driving, you think about this. If you're writing notes, pause it after these questions and think to yourself, what am I tolerating that drains me? Where am I saying yes out of guilt or fear? What standard needs to be reset? And now, just one more way to zoom in a little closer into this. What is one micro boundary I can set this month? So examples like no Slack after 6 p.m. unless you're on site, of course. How about 3 no meetings hour blocks a week? So this is white space where you can just work and think for yourself. You're just brainstorming. You're mapping out the course of the 2026. You're really strategizing with yourself, not with everyone else involved, not with another meeting on your calendar. This is a meeting for you, just to have that white space. And even use that white space just for absolutely nothing. You want to sit in silence. That will bring more creativity and boost your productivity more than you know. It feels like maybe it's a waste, but it actually is something that will help you. So another one could be that you're not responding immediately just because you can. You're just going to take a minute before you actively respond. Or you're responding after the meeting is over and not multitasking. You're not responding while you're in the meeting. You're going to do it at the end of the day, and you're going to answer all your team's messages at the end of the day. These are some examples, but what is one micro boundary that you can set for this month that you can actively practice and make a part of your habits? We want to do this because boundaries aren't walls. They're standards. They're standards that create calm, sustainable leadership. And when you set the boundaries, other people know where to meet you. And then you also know how to meet them. Okay, number 4, we are going to lead our life in 2026. We are going to reclaim control, and you can go back and listen to the episode about how to control what you can in busy seasons. But this is one of those areas where you are going to take the reins back. You are going to be leading your life in 2026, not letting everyone add meetings into your calendar, filling it up before you get a chance to. You are going to set the tone for what 2026 brings to you. I read it's the year of the horse, so you're pushing forward ahead. You are the one guiding the conversation, guiding how your day-to-day and your weeks look like. Events will always be unpredictable. That part never changes, right? Things are always going to happen. But feeling worthy comes from knowing where you do have agency. Life can start to feel like it's happening to us instead of something we're actively shaping. So pause here and ask yourself, what am I standing for this year? What do I want 2026 to look like? And when you think to yourself, you also want to make sure that you're bringing that with action, right? You want to carve out what 2026 is going to look like for you, but also do a little bit of a control audit. What is one thing this week that I can do that moves my life forward, even if everything else stays messy, right? Like, I know I need 1 to 2 hour blocks of white space, and that cannot be touched. Those are the things that I'm going to set in control of, because I know I need those spaces to map out what the event is going to look like at its optimal level. I know I need that space to really create the strategy for 2026 event structure. So think about your week and your days as your own boardroom session. What do you control? Where can you put in some parameters that allow you to take the reins back and lead with intention? So these questions alone can get you out of reaction mode and into leadership. Set the time every Sunday. Make sure that you have time to look at what the week ahead is, or Monday morning, and make sure that you have a plan, because without it, again, you're letting everyone else guide your week, and that is not a form of worthiness or making sure that you're feeling worthy in the year. That is letting everything else control you, and then you start to feel stressed and overwhelmed, and then it's a snowball effect, and you're like, how did I get here? So we're starting 2026 strong with leading your life and reclaiming your control over it. So save this, write these questions down, come back to it often, and make sure that you're installing it as a weekly practice. All right, number 5, treat your health as a leadership asset. So this is all about managing your health. And in 2026, we are making doctor's appointments. We are going to drink water. We are going to do all the things that make us feel good and make health a priority. So often as event pros, we are running on 2 to 3 coffees on site a day. I speak from experience. We are getting less sleep. We are not taking our nutrients or making sure that we're having healthy meals, forgetting to eat. All of these things have a effect on us, and they lead us into burnout faster. So this year, our health is part of our leadership strategy fully. We talk about strategy of how to write the KPIs for the event. What about our strategy to make us the best leader and the best event pro we can be? So this can feel daunting, right? These habits die hard. I love my coffees on site, especially if there's a Starbucks or a local coffee place. Ooh. All right, I get it. But they're not going to be the things that make us have sustainable energy to get us through 2026 feeling like our best self. We will get to the end of the event, the end of the quarter, feeling sluggish and tired and having to reset. But instead of having that moment and that fatigue, why don't we just have the opportunities to pace ourselves throughout the year? Instead of changing everything all at once, choose one health category to focus on per quarter, right? Break the year up into 4 chunks and know that in Q1, I'm going to focus on sleep. Okay, I'm going to do my best to go to sleep and have 7 to 8 hours a night. Okay, that's one area of opportunity. Or I'm going to drink half my body weight of water in Q2. I'm going to make sure I bring my Stanley, or I have another cup that I love that I will have on site and make sure that I'm refilling it. And then there's all these apps. There's all these ways to track your water. Make it a challenge with your coworkers that you're either getting sleep or you're drinking enough water or you're making sure that you're eating a little healthier on site. So you have an accountability person to make sure that you are making traction throughout the year. Or I'm going to take a walk. every event that I do. And it's an outside walk for 10-15 minutes. And again, you can set that with a coworker. Hey, we're going to go on a walk every morning or every afternoon. But make health, again, a part of the leadership strategy. Break it up into quarters. Choose one per quarter, and that is your goal. So if you just do sleep in Q1, you're not even worrying about water or eating healthy. It'll naturally come, but you're going to focus on one. And then you're going to take the second one in Q2. And then you're going to keep habit stacking along the way so that it's not about perfection. It's just about support and making sure that you feel best. You deserve to feel well and feel amazing in the life that you're building. And this is where we start. Okay. And number 6, the final way that you can feel worthy in 2026 is to create white space. It is a daily silence ritual. It's a practice that makes everything else possible. Our dreams, our vision, how we feel about ourselves needs quiet to be heard. And we all talk about overstimulation. There's so much of it at events. There's so much of it in our day-to-day lives. But we need to carve out the space. We do it for our attendees, right? We make longer breaks to ensure that they get some quiet time outside, or we build in some white space in the agenda that they can go back to their hotel rooms and have a moment to breathe before going to the next event. Or lately, we've been seeing these like meditation pods or quiet corners, all of which is great. But when do we sit in those pods? When do we take a break or a moment to have that silence ritual? And of course, if you're in the middle of registration, it's not always the easiest time to say, hey guys, I'm going to go take a 10-minute silence ritual. But you can do it in the morning, or you can say, hey, we're going to take breaks of running the front desk. You go take a 10-minute break and I'm going to come back and then I'll take one too. So there are ways to do it that doesn't leave everyone high up and dry and takes care of you so that you feel your best when you're on site, when you're running around, or even if you're planning from home. Take the moment, schedule it into your calendar and say, I'm going to take these 10 minutes and everything goes off. And you can do a quiet walk. You can journal for 10 minutes. You can just sit on the couch. Deep breathing is one of the ways I love to start my day. Even have my son like quietly meditate with me, where we're listening to the Peloton app and we're just having a moment of quiet and calm to refocus and take some energy back for the day. And if silence feels uncomfortable, I get it. It's how I started, but it's usually a sign that you need it most. And it isn't about adding yet another habit, right? It's about creating space for yourself consistently. So if you take nothing else from this episode, 2026 is not about doing more to feel worthy. It is about choosing practices that remind you that you already are. You don't need permission. You don't need another credential. Even though I did get my recertification, and for those of you who got your certificate CMP in 2020 and now recertified in 2025, congratulations, I'm right there with you. But you don't need it, right? It's not mandatory, and you don't need to earn rest, joy, or peace. You're allowed to choose yourself right now. So we're going to look back. Here are the 6 things that you're going to do. We're going to redefine success. You're going to detach your worth from your output by creating a joy list. You're going to do number 3, which is choosing alignment over approval and setting clear boundaries. We're going to work on leading our life and reclaiming control. Number 5 was treat your health as a leadership asset, manage it, make sure that your health is a priority and it's part of your leadership strategy. And number 6, create white space, build in that daily silence ritual. I want to hear which one lands the most for you, which practice that you're committing to for 2026. Tag me. I really want to cheer you on, and I'm really excited for all that this year is going to bring. So if this episode felt grounding, save it, come back to it later, revisit it every quarter so that you know how to reset your energy and how to make sure you're feeling worthy going into each and every day. And until next time, keep leading with intention, and remember, I hope you feel worthy today and every day. Have a great start to your new year. Bye, everyone.